So you've been a Bold customer for years. The app was cool, support was great, but then with time, support got a little slower. You start getting bombarded with all of these new subscription apps and their sales pitches, and then they're talking about retention and flows and passive cancellation mitigation, active churn prevention, all of this surprise and delight stuff. And then all of a sudden, Bold kind of loses its sheen. Support starts slowing down. And one day, you wake up to this. A little message that you got to migrate. And what do? So that's exactly what I'm here to talk about. And talk about what your options are. So I'm going to actually take a look at the current new Bold subscription app and answer the question, is Bold subscription still worth it? And is it still a good option in 2024? I'll compare it to its top competitors in the subscription app space. And then I'll give it a final rating on its lifetime value features, acquisition, customer acquisition, subscriber acquisition features, analytics, passive active churn, value for money, and so on and so forth. But before I go into that, let's talk about what happened, and let's go down the memory lane a little bit. So, Bold, it's 2019, pre-pandemic. Actually, Bold started in 2012. It was actually a very big local success story. They bootstrapped all the way for the first 7 years, and they raised money, their first outside investment, to help them scale. In 2019, big boost for the company, big boost for the local economy. It was awesome. I was a Boldie. Still, I am a Boldie. Boldie, I think, to me, is a mindset of innovating. There was a builder's code, there was ping pong tables and foosball and beer on tap. It was awesome. But so here's what happened. To take it down memory lane a little bit. So Bold raises its first series of money and first round of money in 2019. And they're known as Shopify's biggest developer, Shopify's closest partner. They've been talk about acquisition, Shopify buying Bold and buying their apps. Hasn't been a common thing, but there was talks about that early on. Bold boasts about being installed on almost 1 million stores. That's nuts. Across all of their apps, 20 plus apps in the store, subscriptions being one of them. Bold's checkout, Bold subscriptions were top apps in the game. Bold was the only real competitor to Recharge at the time. And this is prior to 2021. Two things happen. Bold starts going into its own little success kind of venture-backed strategy, which is going off of Shopify and focusing on building a platform that's bigger, better, tailored, custom-made, enterprise-focused. They talk about a tailored checkout. And this is a story that you will see as Bold branching off of Shopify and going to build its own checkout platform, and kind of, I would say, maybe losing and putting Shopify as into the back seat. And that's kind of what we see. This is a story here, and this is the story of Bold subscriptions, really. So further down, 2021, Bold raises more money, which means more investor pressure, more outside, more people on the board, more just pressure to deliver. And that's what you have in 2021. And Bold is trying to go off of this Shopify path. And the article starts off with, once known as Shopify's largest app developer, Winnipeg-based Bold, shout out to Peg City, is getting 35 million Series B, which will help it become the platform to power commerce everywhere and anywhere. Big statement. And that was a big gamble by Bold. And that is what we're seeing as far as Bold subscriptions go. So then fast forward another year and a half, Bold actually replaces its CEO with another person coming from PayPal into it. They're not really a Shopify person, so Shopify is becoming more and more a secondary piece. However, Bold has now, with this new leadership, they've talked more, They've rolled out more features for their subscription apps, and subscription apps, or the Shopify apps, have taken a bit of a backseat. Now, with this backstory preamble, this actually brings us to their new app. And I'm going to put myself down here. So let's take a look at what does Bold subscription look like now, and what can you expect if you're moving from old Bold subscriptions to new? So fundamentally, whenever I look at apps, I look at three big core aspects of them. The acquisition features, how can they help you acquire a new subscriber? Retention features or LTV features like surprise and delight, cancellation prevention, churn tools, and analytics. How well can you understand what's going on your platform? Because if you can't understand what's going on, when are customers canceling, who's making you the most money, you can't really make strategic big decisions. So that's fundamentally what we're looking at, and that's what the score. That's the score I'm going to give it on also. But overall score is going to be on usability, acquisition, lifetime value, active churn, passive churn, analytics, support, integration, enterprise compatibility. We'll talk about that a little bit, but that's speculative. And then I'll compare it, how it compares to the other loops, recharges, stay, atomics, skios, and so on and so forth. I don't want to spoil that just now. So let's dive in. So Bold subscriptions. This is where you'd be welcome to. This is the home dashboard. As I signal my cold brew. Oh, Sheepdog brew, again, represent Winnipeg. Fantastic cold brews from them. We're trying to get them across Canada. Well, I'd like to work with Sean. Sean, let's get these bad boys on subscription. It's a coffee cold brew. Needs to be shelf stable. Business is complicated, guys. Anyway, side note. So dashboard is all we actually have for analytics. I've looked at this app before, and there's a couple of things I have to shout out right away that I like. Active subscriber number. That's good. I wish there was a little trend line here. Your average subscriber value. This particular number isn't great. Actually, it's terrible. But I like seeing this number right on the top of the dash. And then monthly churn rate is really good because those are really, really the big things that you care about. How many subscribers do you have and where is it trending? What is the customer lifetime value? How much can you spend on subscribers and to acquire subscribers? And what is your monthly churn rate? So this is a new account. This has just been used. So LTV, forget about the data and look at the features. So it's really bare bones, I'll be honest, guys. Like, this is all we have. We have a active subscriber line, which is a count. Doesn't tell me much other than shows me a trend. And then subscription trend over time shows me cancellations versus activations. So I don't even particularly like this one. Their old graph at least showed me downward trend, upward trend, and maybe I superimposed this. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that. I'll tell you this. The analytics are basic, and I have it on good word from Bold that they do have an analytics overhaul coming in 2024. We're already at the end of April. When in 2024, given that the deadline to migrate is in 5 months, there's a lot to happen in 5 months. So fundamentally, I'd say analytics compared to recharge. Recharge is always going to be the incumbent compared to recharge, but also Loop, my kind of personal favorite. It's hard. They are such good value. They're so innovative. Their team is so awesome. Really serious competitor. And compared to Loop, Recharge, or Stay AI, analytics are very, very sparse here, almost non-existent. I would call them non-existent, really. There are reports that you can export and into Excel sheets and CSV files, but that's not analytics. I don't call it that. So that's basically what Bold had. It's a feature parity to their old app, but this is what they launched probably in 2016, 2015. So it's a 10-year-old feature at this point. It's just not there. So now that's the dashboard. Customers, I'm not going to really click into this tab because fundamentally all it's going to show you is just a customer list because there's a bunch of personal information there, and it'll allow you to do some minor changes to customer profiles. Nothing fantastic or mind-blowing, very standard. On the subscription creation, so this is actually what we want to see. What can this app actually do? Fundamentally, we want to look at the capability that you have to create subscription. This is what I call acquisition features. How well can you acquire new subscribers? And this is what we have. So they have these subscription groups. You can edit, you can add the products you have and you want to add. We are looking at a record store here. And then fundamentally what you can do is you can set different frequencies and you can give a percentage off, and that's it for the subscribe and save. You can give them a discount. There's no flexible subscriptions. I think that's coming. And when I say flexible subscribe and save, it's dynamic. It's, hey, give me a discount after order 3 or 4, or increase that discount after order 5. It kind of allows you to create tiered subscribe and saves, which is very cool. It's pretty much what everybody else has. And this is not something that Bold has, which is annoying, really annoying. What they do have, however, is a prepaid function that is arguably the best in the game, because it is their newest feature that they've launched. And what makes it the best in the game is, so prepaids here are actually managed well. The SKU creation and the product creation and the fulfillment side of it is more streamlined than anybody else. But here's actually a feature that I really like, is allowing, once a prepaid subscription ends, to roll it straight into a monthly without any interruption. That is new, that is innovative, and I'll give them props to that. But that is about it. That's all you really have. So that's fundamentally it. You just have frequency and a discount, and maybe if you want to set up prepaids, and that's about it. There's no build a box, there's no product shuffle, there's no gifting, which all of the things except for gifting were on the old subscription app. So that's fundamentally what you're stuck with here. It is kind of unfortunate. It's a very limited setup. Yes, the prepaids are good, but if you're looking to acquire subscribers in more ways than just that, other apps, like again, the recharge offers you gift subscriptions now, a bundle, build a box. Same thing with pretty much with Loop. Same thing with all of the top apps I'm going to mention. Smarter, Skio, Stay, Atomic, everybody of those offers build a boxes. So that's it. Now, then if we go into our general settings, I'm going to pause for a sec. Okay, so if we go into our general settings, you'll quickly see that the app is pretty limited in overall, in more ways than that. We don't have a ton of functionality here, other than just setting a fixed subscription shipping rate, which is good. Free subscription shipping is something that a lot of brands use as an incentive to subscribe and save. That's good. And so here's actually going to be my pet peeve, or more example of how or where the limitations are with the app. So the customer portal, and there is no LTV, lifetime value features. There's no surprise and delight. There's no flows. There's no rewards. There's no upcoming order discounts and personalization. There is things like bulk updates, which allow you to, which are also actually quite honestly pretty skim in ability. So they can either allow you to bulk edit SKUs, so you can change customers from one SKU to another if things are out of stock, or you can bulk edit price. That's kind of what you have. You have this buy now button, which creates a direct link to checkout. This is something Bolt had before. It's pretty neat. If you're building specific promotions, if you want to build landing pages that take you directly to checkout, if you want to use links in social, that's all good. So that is there. But so it's pretty much like this in every other competitor as well. Buy buttons, bulk updates are available. So jumping around a little bit here, but coming back to the customer portal. So talking about lifetime value features. And you know what? Before I keep bashing this thing, because I don't want to do that, I want to give it a massive shout out for usability though. It is one of the clearest laid out apps. It is very easy to understand what you're getting, where you're getting. The team has clearly took their old app and improved it. simply. They polished a lot of things. This is actually what bold subscriptions should have been, 6 months, 12 months after their first release. It's like better UI, better UX, easy, better better user experience, and all of these features should have been there 2016. Let's talk about it that way. But now it is 2024, and we are looking at a much smoother experience, a better setup, better UI, just cleaner design. So props to the design team on this. But I have to bring it back and kind of pull the rug under again, talk about the limitations. So in the customer portal, I will give props on including customer passwordless logins. That is good. And also adding upcoming orders to adding an item to an upcoming order. That's kind of a LTV feature, but it's again very limited. Everybody else has them. Everybody else now rolls with rewards. Like Reachers' big new flows, although they're still kind of working out some of the kinks in upcoming order flows. You can offer rewards, discounts, free products, video rebuttals to cancellations. Incentives, badges. From Atomic has a fantastic moment system where you can personalize badges and rewards and achievements. Achievements could be something that's just a badge of like, hey, you started your journey with subscriptions, and then it could be, you've saved $50, you've saved $100, you've saved 50 trees, you just signed up for bamboo toilet paper. So things of that nature, you can build all of that out of the box in the app and allow customers to do that and basically see that on their customer portal and play with it. Very cool. It creates a lot of really delightful moments. And brands are starting to roll with that because they're seeing that acquisition's getting costly, and then retention is going to bring a lot of the profit into the business, which will aka enable growth, because you're boosting lifetime value. The higher the lifetime value, the more you can bid on ads and spend on marketing. Anyway, so but this is what we have in the customer portal. Customer can pause their subscription. Okay, cool. But there's no cancel. They can cancel. They can change the upcoming order date. I'm not even going to take a look at the customer portal, I'll be honest, because it is it's the same customer portal that you have on Bolt Subscription version 1. It's the same accordion drop downs. The only thing is now you can add an item to an upcoming order, which I don't remember if that was on the first on the previous one, but it's not really something to write home about. I'll look at the email notifications right now. All right, so it has default, basically out of the box, basic notifications that it will send. They are very limited, kind of blank text emails, talking potentially about subscription created, transaction failed. This is what they use for dunning, upcoming orders, expiry card, payment requires authentication, passwordless logins, and so on and so forth. They're plain text emails. There's only 6 emails in total that you can enable as a notification. It's not great. They do have obviously a Klaviyo integration. Anybody doing business should be using Klaviyo, and I'm imagining that the Klaviyo robustness of their Klaviyo integration is probably as advanced as this. I doubt that their external integration would be more robust than this. So imagine just these prompts passed on to Klaviyo for better scanning and better design, but overall limited, let's call it that. Now, for cancellation management, this is when things really start to hurt. There's no cancellation mitigation at all. You can either ask customers, you can give them directions, which is literally a text box on what to do when they click cancel. You can just give them a line of text. Call us, email us to cancel, or you can create reason. There's no flow. There's no flow here, so there's no retention flow. It says called retention flow, but let's say if I'm just creating a too much reason, that's all it's going to do. It's just it's just a too much reason. There's no way to provide a discount. There's no way to support with a skip or a pause. It's just for that. you could say, I mean, internal data collection, it's very important, but this is just, again, comparing to anybody, to Recharge just released their new cancellation mitigation built in, but they also have great integrations into things like retention engine and other things, which Bold does not. This is, to me, this is the biggest, weakest point, I think, of this entire app, quite frankly, is no cancellation mitigation whatsoever. So I would love to see more from them. And that would be the biggest thing, because getting this data, yes, is important. I'm curious how this all is going to play out with new compliance and one-click cancels and that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, can you serve? I wonder what that's going to look like. But fundamentally, this data, it's just not as good as any of the competitors, simply put. Because everyone else allows you to personalize cancellation reasons based on customer lifetime value. And like Skio has a fantastic internal cancellation flow. Recharge's internal cancellation flow is really, really good. I mean, it's super robust now with flows. And it's basically included pretty much on every pro plan. Really, really solid. Same thing with Loop. Loop's video in like Loop pioneered or was one of the first to put videos into the cancellation flow in the app, which are super effective at cancellation prevention. So imagine a Porkrat style video. As soon as you click cancel, it's like, hey, this is from the founder, by the way. Sorry if you missed your expectation, by the way. Maybe try it for another order. Here's 20% off or 30% off or something like that. Anyway. So that's, to me, that's the weakest point. Now, there is dunning, so this is passive churn. You can set it up. It is pretty basic. It's there. So, you can number the attempts, say after how many, but that's about it. And that's essentially all we're looking at, folks. Support, I mean, Bold support, all I can go with now is by what I hear secondhand. It's there. Bold had a fantastic support team, almost like world-class support team, one of the best. But it's just a matter of time and dedication and attention. So I know the company scaled that back as they were kind of going into this tailored checkout experience and prioritizing that. So, and then if you look at integrations, it's not a ton. There's the essential ones. Klaviyo's there, and I know that they integrate into Peel, but Peel's its own thing for analytics, and talked about that. I'll give a shout out. Good subscription upsell. If you want your subscription widget to look nice on the customer-facing product page, good subscription upsell lets you make that real nice without any developer or designer. Just do it to match your brand. But yeah, that's kind of those are kind of some of the key points. Is that this is quite limited. There's no churn stuff that I think is quite important to me. So that's it. There's not a ton of stuff to even there's not a ton more stuff to talk about. Let's give it a little rating, shall we? Now, on usability, I would give it a solid 8. Again, the naming conventions, the layout, the design, super clean, super easy to understand. It's probably one of the best, most usable subscription apps out there, except there's not much to use. From the acquisition standpoint, I think it has a basic subscribe and save. I know the dynamic discounts are somewhere further on in the pipeline, but the subscribe and save is super basic. And the prepaids, however, are really solid. So I'll give it a 6. These are all out of 10, obviously. I will obviously compare it to the other ones as well. And we'll see where overall it lands. So I would say that Loop to me, because Loop is built with Polaris, they're a little more advanced. They have a few more pieces. A few more pieces, kind of not 100% perfectly laid out, but their back-end UI is really good. Atomic has by far the simplest setup, the simplest navigation, the best designed and best, I'd say, most polished app as far as user experience goes. Same, I would argue, same goes kind of for their customer portal as well. But that's where we're at with Bolt. With acquisition features, it's the weakest one. I think everybody else has, and by the way, you'll see that obviously I'll talk about Skio, Atomic, Smarter, Stay, Recharge Loop. AppStell is also on here, and I'll talk about AppStell in a little bit because they are the most reviewed subscription app on the store, and they are taking 0% fee. Yes, they're an overseas team, but they've done some great stuff. They used to rank really low on usability, but now they just overhauled their UI a lot. Still, actually, you know what? It's less usable than Skio. I'll give it that. And Skio's UX is basic, but weirdly labeled. And again, personal opinions. You don't have to agree with me. But anyway, so lifetime value features. This is where things really start to slump. Like, I think other than, obviously, it'll let you charge subscriptions. It'll let you create a subscription. It's a subscription app. There's not a ton. I'll give it a 4. There's no surprise and delight upcoming order flows. There's no gifting. There's no even cancellation prevention. So again, coming back to churn, for active churn, there's no cancellation prevention. You can create reasons. So I'll give it a 2. Literally, it's as I wouldn't say as bad as it gets, but it's the worst one of this bunch for sure. Again, AppStell, a $20 or $30 a month app, lets you have cancellation prevention, same level of dunning, but actual cancellation prevention, reasons, prevention steps by reason. So suggest if somebody says too much stuff, suggest a pause or a skip, or give them a discount if they think the quality is not good enough, and that kind of thing. So passive churn, I'll give it a 6, because you can retry stuff, and that's basically what everybody does. And I think I should correct this because Skio's on par. Everybody just has a basic passive churn feature. I think overall analytics, again, this is another piece that falls through the cracks. This 3, fundamentally that analytics dashboard. Yes, there's export reports, but it's nowhere near as good as I don't want to spend a day of doing exports and putting things into an Excel sheet that something could be given that I could get in minutes at any other app. Support. Now, support is this kind of, again, tricky one. Call it go by feel, but I think support used to be great. Now I hear a lot more complaints about it. I'll give it a 7 overall. As far as integration list, I'd give it a 5. Just given on the depth of integration into other apps and the number of integrations. And then enterprise. This is obviously a big question. I don't really deal 100% with enterprise. Most of the clients we deal with at Good Subscription Agency are somewhere in that, let's say, $1 million to $50 million a year. So they're not massive enterprise clients. They have a team. They probably have a dedicated retention person at this point. But generally, to me, what enterprise means is location, actually, and legally binding contracts, and basically working with overseas teams is tough. This is why AppStell is a tough sell. Loop being now based out of they do have a California arm. I would put them higher on there too. But overall, it's also based on your size too. I feel like I maybe shortchanged a couple of people here. So I'd say I'll put it this way. I'd give these startups. Stay is a little more enterprise focused in my mind, just by the depth of their API integrations. Same thing with the strength of their APIs, actually. Stay has fantastic API integration. So does Loop. Recharge is in its own league. So because, as they say, gangster knows gangster, and enterprise companies want to deal with enterprise companies. So when you're a Recharge, if you're Dollar Shave Club, you're probably working with Recharge unless you're working with Order Groove, but I think that's a story still to be written. But long story short, I put it there. For Bold enterprise level, they can, if they want to, work with enterprise in the Shopify subscription space. I think their current biggest one is maybe Metabolic Meals, maybe Sitka Salmon. They used to power some big enterprise clients, but it's no longer the case. I will give it a 7 just because it is a proven enterprise level team. They focused purely into enterprise with time. So that's what I would give it, a 7. And then overall, this is where we end up. The core score of 17, which is, and core is decided on kind of acquisition, lifetime value, features, not including support and enterprise, that kind of thing. But even overall, it's right on the bottom of the scale here. And as far as value, this is what I'm going to say. Bold might say, hey, but we're not charging $200, $300, $400 a month, $500 a month for our features. It's just $50 a month. But if you look at Appstel, that charges no transaction fees and $30 to $50 a month, they are undeniable value. I'll have to give Bold a 5 on overall value, even because, again, given that how weak these features are, these churn features, and LTV just almost non-existent. If you want to build a business, a subscription business, the subscription app is your engine. It's like you're trying to run a race. The car is, the program. The team around the car is your team. The tech stack, the engine of the car is the subscription app. And right now it's, missing an exhaust pipe. It's, I don't know too much about race cars or cars in general. I just love how they look and sound and drive, but I'm not a mechanic. But my point stands is that it's just limited compared to what you can get for the amount of money. And it makes sense to invest, and it makes sense to spend $200, $300 a month to build a scalable platform. Because you might say, well, I'm just starting out. I don't want to pay $300 a month. I get that. And look at Appstel as a really actually good starting point. To me, it's my favorite. It's my starter app. Like if you're no money whatsoever, if $50 a month is really stretching it already on the business, Appstel should be your go-to, and then move off to upgrade to Loop, to Recharge, to Stay, to Smarter, Atomic, Skio. That's what I would suggest. So, yeah. So, and that's kind of that. So to summarize for Bold, it's really like a very bittersweet story because, again, it was a local giant. It's a Shopify giant. I used to work I helped friends get jobs at Bold. I know their team really, really well. I still have people who work at Bold now. I'm friends with Jay Myers from Bold. He's been a very big influence because obviously he's a big influence on the subscription space. He's a massive thought leader here. And it's just tough to see that also, but it also reminds you how tough business is, how tough decision making is. Making massive gambles on, is this tailored checkout going to work? And just putting all your eggs into that basket potential. I don't really know what the decision making up top was like. It's not easy to let a CEO go. The core founding members of the team is the soul of the company. It really is. It's the energy of the entire company, and they translate that energy top down. As much as we want to talk about bottom up, the leadership sets the culture and the tone. So as soon as you start hollowing that leadership out, it really, the rest of the staff just start losing steam and energy. I'd love to know, I know that Bold has had great great spirit all the time. Jay is literally anybody you talk to, everybody loves Jay, because Jay is an awesome person, right? Super smart, super nice, super approachable. Like, if Canada needed a spokesperson, Jay Myers is like innovative, tech entrepreneur, super nice, volleyball superstar, just loves small business, loves helping people. So, and that's what carried this app so, like, basically willing it into existence. Obviously, it's the team, but Jay's passion for the subscription space too. So, I know that there's new things around the block. There's improved analytics. There's dynamic discounts. There's convertible subscriptions where you can auto swap certain things, but it's still so tough. So tough for Bolt to compete in 2024, in my mind. So I'll leave it at that. I hope this was insightful. I hope this saves you some headaches. The last thing, my hope is that you don't migrate multiple times in 2024 if you're a Bolt subscription customer. So I'd say, if that's an engine to your car, invest well into planning what's going to work, what app do you want to be the back end of your vehicle, and put some time into due diligence, because you don't want to go from this app to another app and then realize that app isn't the fit anymore. Because I've talked to brands that migrated 3 times in a year, and guess what they were doing? All that entire year, all of their efforts were in migrations, because migration is the most stressful part of your year. And anybody who tells you they're not, they're lying. Because every time you're basically moving your entire revenue engine to a different platform, and sure, it's a reliable process, things don't really go wrong, but it doesn't matter. Your body tells you this is stressful. So yeah, gray hair is how you get. Basically, if you want gray hair, just do migrations all the time. I'm still doing fine overall, still 30 years young. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. A little lengthy, but I hope this was this gave you a good idea of if Bold is a good option in 2024, and what to do next. All right, and if you have any questions, reach out to me, Andrei Rudnik at Good Subscription Agency. So Andrei at goodsubscription.agency is my email, or just check us out, Good Subscription Agency, and send me a comment or set up a call. Happy to help. Cheers.